Wow, what a fight. What a fight. Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder 3. That was great, man. That was fun. That was exciting. That was exhilarating. That was every adjective you could come up with for great. I mean, these guys went back and forth. But at the end of the day, here's the reality of the situation. Here's the reality of the situation when it comes to Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Here's the reality. Look, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, they can fight 10 times. And the reality of the situation is Tyson Fury will win all 10 times. This is the reality of the situation. Unless Deontay Wilder hits him with a punch, Tyson Fury is going to win each and every time. Unless Deontay Wilder hits him with that big shot, Tyson Fury is going to win every single time. That is the reality of these two going back and forth. That is the reality of Fury, Wilder, whatever they fight. That's just the reality of it. And, it was a great fight. It was a lot of fun. Deontay Wilder went out on his shield. He went out on his shield. I mean, it was that simple. Deontay Wilder went out on his shield. And that's the way he wanted to go out in the second fight. He wanted to go out on his shield in the second fight. He was willing to die, basically. I mean, that's just it. He was willing to die in order to win this fight. He was going to do everything and anything in his power to win this fight. When he was dropped, I thought after he was dropped in round 2, I thought he was done. I mean, not done, but his legs were never the same after being dropped in round 2. It was never the same after being dropped. And so, but what kept him in that fight, obviously, was his ability, his power. His power is what kept him in this fight, and his power is what ultimately, made this fight exciting. But Deontay Wilder just doesn't have what it takes to beat Tyson Fury, and not many in the heavyweight division do. It's just that simple. This guy, he has great recuperative powers. I mean, Tyson Fury was dropped twice by the hardest hitter in the heavyweight division. Some believe maybe the hardest hitter ever. I'm not saying that, but some believe it. Some have said it. Malik Scott said it, his trainer, that this dude is the hardest hitter in the history of the heavyweight division. Some people have said it. And so I look at that particular fight, man, and I say, you know what, Tyson Fury and his recuperative powers, his ability to get up, his ability to keep on fighting and just look like, he was fresh. He was the fresher of the two guys. And Deontay Wilder, you saw maybe the Malik Scott effect early on in that fight. Deontay Wilder was going to the body in round 1, going to the body with the jab, putting the body in Fury's, stomach. But again, some guys are going to be what they're going to be. It doesn't matter with Deontay Wilder. You can do all these different things with him in terms of, whatever trainer you put him with. You can put him with the late Emmanuel Stewart. I mean, you can put him with any trainer, and it appears this guy is who he's going to be. He's a home run hitter. He's got that honey punch. He's got that right hand, that big right hand. And, he's going to be flawed. He's just a flawed guy. He's a flawed guy. It's just that simple. He's flawed, and he will ever be flawed. But again, it's that right hand that gets him out of it. It's that right hand that rescues him. And ultimately, that right hand kept him in it. When I look at this fight, right, ultimately in that second fight, Mark Breland came in and stopped the festivity. He stopped the fight in round number 7. And looking at the way Wilder was, and he seemed similar to the way he was in the second fight in terms of how hurt he was, you understand why Mark Breland did what he did. I thought it was a great stoppage by Mark Breland at the time, and I still think it was a great stoppage by Mark Breland. And so, you know what? He wanted to go out on his shield, correct? Regular life. He wanted to go out on his shield. And that's just the reality of the situation. He did. He got what he wanted, right? He got what he wanted. And sometimes in life, you got to be careful what you want. You got to be careful what you wish for. And hopefully Wilder's fine. He'll be okay, But I think at the end of the day, Deontay Wilder, just like Tyson Fury said coming into this fight, can beat anybody in the heavyweight division except Tyson Fury. It's just that simple. Wilder could beat Usyk. Wilder could beat Joshua. Wilder could beat any heavyweight in the division. He just can't beat Tyson Fury. And the ship in terms of this fight, seeing this fight again, that's probably done. Would I love to see it again? Of course. But I think it's done. I think the reality of it is it's done. We won't see this one again. And some people believe there's really no reason to see it again. But I'd like to see it again. Sure, why not? But I think at this point, it's done. Each fighter is going to go in their own directions. Fury, maybe to Usyk, maybe to the winner of Dylan White and Otto Wallin, maybe there. And Wilder's, he's going to fight some guys on the PBC side probably, and they'll just go from there. But, and look, in a loss, Deontay Wilder still gets a lot of credit. He still gets a lot of credit in the loss. He dropped Tyson Fury 2 times in this fight, 2 times in round number 4. But again, Tyson Fury, man, his recuperative powers, his ability to get up, his ability to shake it off and keep on going. That's what makes that guy special. He can do any and everything in a boxing ring at a heavyweight. You look at his body, it doesn't look great. But again, boxing is not a bodybuilder's contest. Boxing, we're not looking at who's the fittest, who has the best body ever. No, it's not about that. It's about your skill set and your ability to take a punch and your ability to give a punch. And clearly on this day, Tyson Fury, he's not the harder puncher. He's not the harder puncher, but his ability to recuperate. He's the guy that can take a punch just a little bit better than Deontay Wilder. And look, Wilder could take a punch. We saw Deontay Wilder against Luis Ortiz, and that, I forgot what round it was, the first fight against Luis Ortiz. He had Deontay Wilder out on his feet. But guess what? Wilder survived. And guess what Wilder ultimately did? He ultimately stopped Luis Ortiz. It's just that simple when it comes to Deontay Wilder. I think I've seen on Twitter now, fight of the year, some people are throwing out there. This could have been a fight of the year. Maybe. It was a special fight. It was 2 heavyweights going at it. It was 2 heavyweights brawling. It was 2 heavyweights laying it on the line. And now, we could talk about, coming into this fight, we heard all the excuses in terms of Glovegate, in terms of, the Deontay Wilder in the suit, Deontay Wilder in terms of him, getting poisoned maybe with his water, things of that nature. We heard it all. And I'm not saying those things are true. I'm not saying those things are false. I just said we heard it. But at the end of the day, the reality of it is there's no excuses now. All that talk is just talk. All that talk is just out the window at this point. There's nothing to be said here. Tyson Fury is the better fighter. Tyson Fury will beat Deontay Wilder any and every time they fight. It's just that simple. Every time they fight, Tyson Fury will beat Deontay Wilder. You can argue he beat him in the first fight. You could argue there's no argument in the second fight. And again, there's no argument in this fight. So it should be interesting to see where these guys go from here. It should be, obviously, Fury is the man in this division. He's the man in the heavyweight division. He is the best he's the best fighter in the division. It's just that simple. And Deontay Wilder, he's probably a close second or third. But again, any and every time he goes up against Tyson Fury, we all know what the result is probably going to be. It's probably going to be a stoppage of some sort. It's probably going to be Tyson Fury beating Deontay Wilder some way, shape, or form. It's just that simple. And so we look at it, man, and it was fun. Say what you want to say. No matter what fighter you were rooting for, it was fun. You could say I was rooting for Tyson Fury, and then you got the victory, but you also got a good fight. You could say you're rooting for Deontay Wilder. Obviously, you didn't get what you wanted, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And hopefully, maybe, probably, possibly, probably not at all. It's done. This whole thing is done. Fury Wilder 3. We won't see a Fury Wilder 4. It's all done. Tyson Fury is the man. Tyson Fury is better than Deontay Wilder, no matter how we slice it, no matter how we put it, no matter what we say, no matter, we could use anything we could say. The reality of it is the better man won tonight. Going back to round number 4, right? When Deontay Wilder dropped Tyson Fury twice in that round, I'm focusing on that second knockdown. That second knockdown, to me, that count did seem a little long. That count seemed a little bit long. And, there was, when Tyson Fury was on the ground that second time, you're wondering, man, is he going to get up? But that count seemed a little long. That count was a little interesting. That count may have been a smidge too long. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, it was the long count that ultimately won it for Tyson Fury. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say if it wasn't for the long count, Tyson Fury would have been stopped in the 4th round. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying like Mike Tyson was saying against Buster Douglas in that fight where they were sitting there counting, watching the video, counting, and saying, well, this should have been a knockdown. Mike Tyson was saying, they played it there on the video before the fight. Mike Tyson saying, well, I consider myself the heavyweight champion of the world still after he lost to Buster Douglas, because he said that was a long count. And I believe that was round 7 in that particular fight. But look, I'm not saying that was that. I'm not saying that at all. Heck, I'm not even saying that was a long count back then. Maybe it was, but who knows? But look, at the end of the day, in that fight, Buster Douglas won, who was the right man. And in this fight, Tyson Fury won, who was the right man. The right man won in both of those fights. The right man won both times those two went at it, in terms of, the 3 times that they went at Fury and Wilder. The right man won. Tyson Fury is the right man anytime he faces Deontay Wilder. Now, look, give Wilder credit. It did appear, him and Malik Scott, they did appear to have some sort of game plan. And, like I said, Wilder went to the body early. We never see Deontay Wilder go to the body. That's something we never see, is Deontay Wilder go to the body. But he went to the body against Tyson Fury. Went to the body, seemed to have some success going to the body against Tyson Fury. But at the end of the day, Tyson Fury is a great boxer. He's a great boxer, and his boxing ability would always be the difference in this fight. And coming into this fight, and I thought Deontay Wilder was going to win, but coming into this fight, the conventional wisdom was, okay, Tyson Fury is the better boxer. Deontay Wilder is the more powerful fighter, right? And, it also, you have to look at it from this standpoint as you walk away from this. Deontay Wilder has more power, but Tyson Fury has a better chin. And I'm not saying Deontay Wilder has a bad chin, because we saw the punishment that he went up, when he fought Luis Ortiz. We saw the punishment that he dealt with, that Luis Ortiz gave to him. We saw that punishment, but we also saw how Deontay Wilder was able to come on back. And then here tonight, we saw the punishment Tyson Fury was laying on him. We saw that punishment, but we also saw how Deontay Wilder just kept coming and coming and coming. Again, I thought Wilder, his legs weren't right after that temple shot where he got dropped in round number 2. His legs were not right after that. And he was on shaky legs, shaky ground the rest of the way. From that point on, he was on shaky ground. But again, when you have that type of right hand, when your right hand is that electric, you're always going to be around. You're always going to have a shot, and you're always going to have a chance. And again, it was clear. Mark Breland wasn't in that corner, but Malik Scott or JD's was not stopping that fight. They were not stopping that fight. The only way that fight was going to be stopped is what you saw in round 11 when Tyson Fury just dropped Deontay Wilder pretty much on his face. He was done after that. He was on shaky ground. I thought he was on shaky ground after round 2. And I thought he was on shaky ground the rest of the way. Part of it could have been fatigue. Part of it could have been he was hurt. But he was on shaky ground. But give him credit. You got to give him, whether you love Deontay Wilder, whether you hate the excuses that he made after the second fight, you gotta give him credit for what he did. You got to give him credit for his ability to recoup and just keep on fighting. Give him credit for that. He went out on his shield. And hey, we get on boxers when they quit. We get on boxers when they, when it appears that they given up. We give up on boxers. But Deontay Wilder, he didn't give up. In fact, he kept coming. And he kept coming. And he kept coming. And he kept coming. He kept coming until he couldn't come no more. And ultimately, in that 11th round, he couldn't come no more. And so, do we give Malik Scott credit for the game plan that he put together? Sure. But ultimately, it was the same result. It was the same result. Deontay Wilder just can't beat Tyson Fury. Can't beat him. We'll never be able to beat him. It's just that. I wouldn't say never be able to. Look, we're not going to see the fight again. But so the reality is Deontay Wilder will never be able to beat Tyson Fury. It's just that simple. Never will be able to beat Tyson Fury. And I go back, I look at Deontay Wilder, and I say to myself, man, the fight I always wanted to see with Deontay Wilder was Wilder Joshua, when they both were undefeated. That was the fight that I wanted to see. That was the fight I would love to have seen. Both of those guys undefeated. I think it was after Wilder beat Ortiz and after Joshua beat Klitschko. That would have been the perfect time to put those two together. That fight would have been huge money. It would have did huge numbers, and everybody would have been happy. That would have been the fight. But obviously at this point, Wilder has 2 losses. Joshua has 2 losses, so maybe we can see it now. Look, both of these fighters coming off losses, and I know Joshua ultimately exercises rematch clause, so he's going to fight Alexander Usyk at some point in time, at some points in 2022. But if that wasn't going, if Joshua decided to go in a different direction, Wilder Joshua is still a big fight. It's still a big fight. So, again, I don't know if we'll ever see it because we know Joshua's with Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, and we know Wilder's with PBC and Al Heyman. So the reality is we probably won't ever see that fight. But that is the fight that I still would want to see. And maybe it's a fight that could happen because, again, both of these guys are coming off losses. So maybe that is a fight that we could see at some point, at some time in the future. Who knows? But again, tonight was all about Tyson Fury. Tonight was about the greatness of Tyson Fury. Tonight was about Tyson Fury being able to go that next gear, that next extra gear, that next level. He was able to go that extra gear and that next level, and that was the difference. He was the better man and is the better man and will forever be the better man when it comes to him fighting Deontay Wilder. He will forever be the better man. Pretty much that simple, folks. Tyson Fury has Deontay Wilder's number. Superman, he had kryptonite, right? Deontay Wilder, he has kryptonite as well. And that man is Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, the best heavyweight in boxing at this point in time. And look, if Joshua would have handled his business, we could have seen Fury Joshua, and that would have been a huge fight. That would have been a huge fight, and that would have been a fight that everybody would look forward to. Still probably would look forward to. That was going to be huge. But again, Tyson Fury had to handle his obligations here with Deontay Wilder. And he did it. He handled his business. But Joshua and Fury, that would have been a big fight as well. And I think based off what we saw, Tyson Fury being a technician, Alexander Usyk being a technician, we probably, what we saw against was probably what we saw. What Usyk did to Joshua is probably what Fury would have done to Joshua. I mean, it probably would have been the same type of fight, same type of party, same type of situation. So, I still would have loved to have seen Joshua Fury. And I don't know, look, maybe it happens, sometime in 2022. Let's just say Joshua Usyk run it back, Joshua beats Usyk, and then Joshua moves forward. Hey, Joshua still would sell huge in the UK, and it's still a big fight. Joshua is still a big fight if Joshua comes back and beats Usyk in the rematch. It's still a big fight. Still a big fight. So let's hope that we get to see that big fight at some point at some time, because I think it would be cool. So I just, it would be fun, and let's hope that we get that fun at some point in time. But clearly, at this point, we look at Tyson Fury and what he did tonight. Tyson Fury, again, these special athletes have that gear, that next gear that can't always be defined and can't always be explained. Michael Jordan has that next gear, that next level where it's just his ability to take that next step and go to that next level is always something special. We're going to add somebody here. We got Mr. Mitchell here from the Fight Journal. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel, TFJ. Mitch.
What's going on? Can you hear me, Paul?
I can hear you loud and clear. How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
TFJ Boxing. Make sure you check it out. Great YouTube channel. They talk some great boxing over there. So your thoughts. Your thoughts on what we saw tonight. Tyson Fury defeats Deontay Wilder by TKO in the 11th round. Talk about what you saw.
Will there be any question on certain channels about the long count, the slow count, or are we? I mean, is it a legitimate gripe or is it not?
Was Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas, was that a long count? Was that a legitimate gripe? I mean, I think it falls along those lines.
Okay.
At this point.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Well, I mean, you saw two. I guess from the beginning, you saw two guys who thought extra weight with adding on extra weight would work in their favor from the beginning, and you just saw two guys lay it on the line. One guy who was looking for redemption, who had up to, I'll say, 13, 14 excuses on losing the last fight, and it went well beyond the costume thing, and you saw Fury, whose game plan in fight number 2 was to pack on some pounds, and then he came in even heavier. So can you hear me? I got some fleet.
Yeah.
What's happening?
We also got Chris Williams in the building.
Chris Williams is in the house, and the house is packed. No, but and so there are people online speaking in terms of Wilder being should be ashamed of himself, and I'm trying to figure out where that came from. I mean, he laid it on the line tonight. I mean, and Fury had to overcome some obstacles too, getting knocked down a couple of times. So it was just a great effort by both sides. I thought a lot of times the show, the camera, the camera, I
can't hear anything.
You hear you?
No audio.
Chris? Okay.
Go in and out. Go in and out.
Can he, let me shoot him a text. Hold on. hold on. Chris, go in and out.
Yeah, it was a great night of boxing. You know, no matter which side of the fence you're on, whether you're PBC top rank, or whether you're Fury, whether you're Wilder, no matter what side of the fence you're on, what side of the street you're on, you got a great night of boxing. I
Lion,
mean, it
Lions Den.
they got a great night of boxing too. Everybody got a great night of boxing.
No, you're
Everybody.
right. There's no shame. Like everybody should leave. I mean, your guy may have lost, your guy may have won, but everybody should leave like, wow, this is what we wanted to see. I mean, it no early. It was early drama, but it didn't end early, and it went some rounds. It went extremely late, so it was good. It was good. A lot of holding. I thought the referee kind of, well, I think he slightly overdid it in some instances, but what can you say? I mean, you can complain, and then you don't complain now that you got. I mean, you might not have got it the way you wanted it to, but it's hard to complain after tonight.
Agree.
Can you hear Chris?
Yes, I can.
Oh, he lives.
What do you say, Chris Williams, the Chris Williams podcast? Make sure you check that out. What do you say about tonight's action?
Man, what a fantastic fight. First of all, I have the utmost respect for Deontay Wilder. I didn't think he had a chance because after I saw the first two fights, 18 rounds, I thought he only won 2 of those. But tonight he showed some heart because in either the second or third round, he got hit with the right hand and it threw him back into the ropes. And he got hit with the left hook that woke him up. And all of a sudden he started fighting. And I was amazed. I mean, he was out the whole fight, but he showed heart. And
that's a boxer.
Yeah, but
he's a boxer. What you want him to do? He got like what, 10 title defenses? Come on, Chris. Give me a little. Come on, man. Give me more than that, man. Come on.
Listen, the average man against Tyson Fury would have been stopped and quit.
No, Tyson Fury is not a puncher. Has never been a puncher.
Well, clearly, when it comes to Deontay Wilder, his punches are effective. When it comes to Deontay Wilder, so he hasn't been a puncher, but these last 2 fights, we've seen a puncher.
Man.
So against Deontay Wilder, all of a sudden he's this miraculous puncher, and you're saying that, he's not a puncher, but come on, man. It's more than that. Or are you saying that Deontay Wilder just never had a chin? Well, what are you saying?
I think I think he showed off his chin tonight.
I thought it was a great. He made it a great fight.
When was Fury a puncher? When was he a puncher before Wilder? I mean, that was the knock on. That was the knock on. That was the knock on him. You're 6'9" and such, and the one thing you can't do is punch.
Okay, so in 3 fights, let's talk about the 3 fights that made this trilogy. Let's make this trilogy, which is so special, while we watch this 3rd fight tonight. It was all about what Fury had done to Wilder, what Wilder had done to Fury. Forget all the other stuff. I mean, these two getting in the ring together, knowing exactly what the other one was going to do. I mean, Wilder was out on his feet the last fight. They didn't want him to stop it. This fight, they don't stop it. See what happens. The same result, except the ref stops it this time. Actually, the ref didn't have to stop it. His head hitting the ground stopped it.
Oh, he's trying to get up. But when was Fury a puncher? Though, you ducking my question.
I'm not ducking your. Okay, he became a puncher somehow after the first Deontay Wilder fight.
Okay. Thanks. That's the answer I was looking for. Okay. So when you talk, oh man, he took, but how did it happen? Like, how did it happen? Like, you're 6'9" all these years, and you just not. That's the knock against you. And now all of a sudden you're this puncher. So I can't. Do I look at Wilder and say, oh man, I mean, anybody else that would have got hit with those punches would have been. I can't look at it that way. I can say he has heart. Like you said, I can say he has heart, but I don't know.
Could it be the weight? I mean, 273 in the second fight, 277 in this fight. Could it be the weight? Could it be new trainer, Sugar Hill? I mean, I heard Sugar Hill say that he taught Tyson Fury how to punch differently, and maybe the technique. Maybe his technique was off. Maybe his technique wasn't right.
I think he taught him how to go to the body. If Wilder would have been able to stick with punching to the body, throwing the jab to the body, the right hand to the body, I think we would have had a different later outcome. It might even gone into the 12th round, but I think it would have been because it slowed him down. Because the one thing that Tyson Fury always had to do was to set himself so he could throw his punches. In the first round, he started slapping him with that 1-2, and he was moving, and he started getting hit to the body, and he stopped moving his feet. He stopped throwing that 1-2. As soon as Wilder stopped throwing to the body, he started setting his feet. He started getting comfortable again, throwing the 1-2 and slapping him around. So
I don't think Wilder. I don't think he ever had have you watched the Harold Sconyers fight? Did you watch the fight with that truck driver he fought? I think he's gotten to people before they've gotten to him a lot of times. Even the drummer boy Molina, the guy named Drummer Boy, had him out on his feet and was one punch away. I don't think he ever had.
You don't think he ever had?
It's hanging. I think we lost him. So until he comes back. So, and I get where Chip's going with that about what Wilder used to do, but I'm looking at it at what he's done in these 3 fights. Like, what adjustments has he made? How has he gotten better? Is he moving his head? Is he, even when they tied up, I had a little more respect for him tonight because when they got in those close clinches, he didn't just keep his head underneath his arm. When Fury would, do that little headlock, he tried to spin out of it and punch. He couldn't get out, but he tried. At least he tried something. In the past, he would just stay in there and just let him lean on him. Taking a knee when he was pushing him down, that was a big move.
Right.
So, I mean, I have a lot of respect for Wilder because he took a butt whooping. And he kept fighting.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I know Chip Mitchell. I know the TFJ, the Fight Journal. I know, he says he's a boxer. I mean, that's what he's supposed to do. And yes, to a degree, yes. But how many boxers have we seen in that particular situation, call it quits? Many. We've seen many do it. And
we've seen many that haven't. But we're talking about how many have Tyson Fury made do that? Did you see? Have you seen the Harold Sconyers fight with Wilder? Have you seen that truck driver dude? He fought the guy. Like, dude, he's never had. Well, what I'm saying. So, in other words, I'm kind of agreeing with you because it's like. But what I'm saying, what I'm also saying is, I've seen Wilder survive before. That drummer boy guy.
I remember that
one punch away from. So, all right. So let me ask you this then. No. Go ahead. Because I want to ask you something in a minute.
Well, let me ask you guys this. To me, I thought after the second round, after that first knockdown of Fury, when he dropped Wilder, I believe that was the second round. I thought Wilder's legs were unsteady the rest of the way.
Go ahead, Chris. I know what I'm gonna say. Go ahead, Chris.
No, he was. That's what I was saying before. I don't know how he survived to last that long because he was out on his feet when he got hit. That dude was done. He was done, and he could never get his balance. And that's the one thing. When Wilder doesn't have his balance, he is an average fighter.
Yes, his eyes get wide open. It's like he's Emmanuel Augustus without trying to be Emmanuel Augustus. It's like, dude, he kind of limps backwards, and it's like it's almost a flashback of that sec. Like, what's wrong with you, dude? It's like you're not there, and he don't have that Kelly Pavlik recuperative type thing when Jermaine Taylor knocks him down and all of a sudden he's like, no, I'm good. And then the next round he's coming forward. It takes him a while. And I understand he's 35 years old. So, I mean.
Well, let me ask you this. So, Wilder looks great. Like, he looks like Adonis, right? But is he in great shape? And that's always the one thing I always look at him and think, is he in great shape? Like, is he built to last? Could he go 12 rounds and be in a heated fight? And even if it's not Fury, if it's a smaller guy about his size, could he go 12 rounds?
I guess Stavern was the only one where he went 12, right? Stavern was the only fight where he went 12 rounds. The first Stavern fight.
That's right. Stavern was
the belt.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's a good question because I think now we may get our answer because there's a certain, how can I say this? It's a certain amount of damage that now it's not, I'm going to step in here and I'm going to do this 1 round or I'm going to do this 2 round or 3 round. Now we might get a someone who can take him some rounds even further than like an Ortiz or to the 12th like us. So it's a good question. We might, wherever he goes from here, we might find out or we might not. But
where does he go from here? I mean, what Andy Ruiz? I mean, where does he go from here?
I'd still love to see him fight Joshua. I'm sorry. I would love to see that fight.
I said that before you came on. I said that exact same.
I would love to see Wilder fight Joshua. I mean, obviously the Usyk Fury is going to be made, but if it doesn't, I would love to see Ruiz fight Usyk or Fury.
Joshua signed for the rematch, so
yeah,
we're gonna have to.
I don't know how we all have to wait for that, but
boxing, boy, I tell you, I think boxing doesn't want that unification. Like it's going to do everything it can, man. I just got a feeling.
Let me ask you guys. I know, Paul, it's your show, but I got to ask this question.
Go ahead, man.
Are there any better heavyweights than what we saw tonight?
I say no.
What do you say, Chip?
I don't know because Joshua hasn't fought Wilder or Fury. I don't know. Like, in other words, he fought the ultimate chess player. The problem with boxing, and Anthony Joshua is one of these guys. The problem is we have champions who are still learning on the job. The guy was a champion, 14 wins, 15 wins? And you throw him in there with the ultimate chess player, man. A guy he's just too green, I think Paul is the word Paul used for Usyk. So, but he's not going to fight Wilder, and Wilder's not going to fight him the same way he fought Usyk or Usyk fought him. I think the plan against Wilder is to be the old AJ and attack. Like, and if you get caught, you get caught, but you're going to try to catch him and back him up. I don't see it going more than 3-4 rounds, whoever gets who first. The same with Fury. Fury, while he does certain things, he's not Usyk. He doesn't come from the same angle as the problem with Joshua, he's done fine with everybody 6'5" and over. It's these little guys what's the guy? What's the short, dark skin
Takam.
Right, Carlos Takam had trouble with him. Ruiz had trouble with him. He just, so I'm tempted to see him in there with a Wilder or a Fury, guys he's looking eye to eye with or looking up a couple of inches to, because Klitschko is Klitschko. He took that fight too early, but he survived. And I'm like, okay, he's ready. But you just don't know. Usyk, that's just a different animal right there, man. So I don't know.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
On paper, they're the best two, but go ahead.
Long count. Was there a long count there?
Ooh, the second one, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have anybody. The second one was crazy, and we said it on the broadcast, but there was nobody taking the count. Like this, They're supposed to be. There was nobody there taking the count. He was doing it himself. It's like, what? So yeah.
He's supposed to pick up the count from the dude.
Yes. He's looking around and nobody's counting, and he just has to start it himself.
There's a heated debate going on online about it's not 10 seconds. It's a 10 count from the, but I'm like, I think this is different. I think either way. do you follow protests just for the sake of just filing a protest if you're Malik or if you're Team Wilder? I mean,
why not? Why not?
People are like they're calling it. Some people, one half is calling him the uncrowned champion online. I said, "What does remind me of wrestling?"
I'm telling you, I don't want to see that fourth one. I see it badly.
I would want to see it.
I see it ending so badly for Wilder. Like he hasn't improved. Well, let me stop because he was able to throw a couple different punches. You know, there's
Chris,
to the body.
Would we be saying that if the count was? Would we be saying this? I don't want to see the fourth if that count comes through.
Yes, I would.
You still wouldn't want to see it?
No, and it's exactly what Paul said before. Wilder was done after the second round. His legs were unsteady.
But he dropped dude twice after. Okay. Listen, he implemented your and Malik Scott's game plan. The plan you guys came up with. He implemented it. I mean,
so does Malik Scott get trainer of the year for teaching Deontay Wilder to go to the body?
Comeback trainer of the year.
Only if he could have taught him how to fight on the inside, I'd have been happy. And then what's frustrating to me about this fight is they kept showing those videos of how he was fighting on the inside. They showed him in the clinch, throwing punches, and he never did it. It's like, okay.
But Chris, if you go back in between one of those rounds, he said, Deontay, when you're inside, you can't do such and such and such and such. You gotta, he's like, you can control him. Something he was saying, I can't quite pick up the word. So like he taught him, but dudes didn't, it just didn't reach him like Julian Williams. But I don't know.
But look, I mean, some people are Deontay Wilder's like Jared Hurd, right? Jared Hurd, he got with K. Karama. He was supposed to be this boxer, but at the end of the day, he went back to being who he is. And Deontay Wilder went to the body in that first round, jabs to the body. But at the end of the day, he went back to being who he is.
Yes, he did. He couldn't. And what did he tell him? He said, when you fight, he said, keep your right hand up like you're talking on the phone or something. He said to him.
Oh, God.
Which I thought was like brilliant. But as soon as he got tired, as soon as he got touched, that right hand went down and he started that backing up and getting caught. And he just that's who we thought. That's who we knew. He became the fighter. He became the fighter that we knew he was.
And that's what I'm saying. I think Scott told him right. Not the phone part, but the other part I was just talking about is just dude didn't do it. So I think you're right. I think you're right. Like
you hit it on that ball.
It definitely it was a great fight. I mean, no matter, like I said, no matter what side you're on, it was a great fight. And I know Chip said he don't want to see it again, but
Chris
I see it.
Chris said that.
Oh, Chris said it. I'm sorry.
Y'all. That's all right. Y'all two are used to giving backhanded comments toward me anyway. Every time it's happened before, so it's okay. I'll be the bad guy again. Even when I agree with people, they want to. It's okay, Paul. I know you know it was me.
I want to see a fourth fight.
I do.
I do not. I'll watch it, but I don't want to see it.
Would you? But you're still saying if the long count didn't happen and Wilder and Fury was counted out, you still wouldn't want to see it.
No.
Oh, come on, Chris.
I'm going to stick to that. So I didn't want to see this fight because I thought and I truly think Wilder is going to be a different person. Just a fighter.
Absolutely.
A different person after this fight. And I think that it just shouldn't have happened for him. I mean, he made a lot of money.
not to interrupt, but let me ask you this: we saw Bo Holyfield, that trilogy, right? And at the end of the day, it took more out of Bo than it took out of Holyfield. Is that the same situation we're going to
Yep.
see here?
Yep.
Where
Yep.
okay,
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. And that was going to be my question. So, okay, are we okay with Mark Breland doing what he did in the second fight, throwing it in?
I am.
Because he was beat up pretty bad, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, so you saw that deja vu. I don't know if he was saying it to himself, but you saw that look when his balance is off. He got that look in his eye. Do you think, seriously? I'm asking seriously. Do you think he's a candidate, not wishing bad on anybody, with these two fights? Do you think he's a candidate of one of these 10 years from now, a little slurred Shane Mosley slurred speech type? Do you think it was that much damage?
Yeah.
He took a lot of punishment.
I do too. I do too. I do too. Sometimes you see it, but you don't see it until you like, oh damn, those were some shots, man. Because it's just his face, man. It looks like I don't know, man. That little light skinned thing better take care of him the next few years.
So I was hoping she sticks around and doesn't run off with the money. But he left the money to the kids so they can take care of him. He's gonna have some troubles. And I want to see him fight Joshua, but gosh, I want to see what he's like, a month from now.
35 already.
So based on what you guys are saying, you would like to see him almost step away at this point.
I wouldn't have a problem with it, honestly. I think he's done a lot for the sport, and I think he's accomplished a lot. So if he did walk away, I'd be okay with it. If he fights again, I just don't want to see another Fury fight. I would like to see.
At this point, does Wilder, 10 title defenses, 0-2-1 against Fury, the best heavyweight in the division? Does he really have anything to prove at this point? He's made a lot of money. Is there anything out there for him to really do? We know he can't beat Tyson Fury.
But if that count didn't happen, would you be saying? Go ahead. I'm listening. No, but you know what? Let me slide to the side a little bit, and then I'm gonna come back to it. But there's always something with Tyson Fury, man. This fight, this trilogy maybe never happens if Fury is any other fighter in the world, because that Otto Wallin cut he had, that fight should have been stopped. Fury should have never got the chance at Wilder because of what happened to Otto Wallin. That's how you say it, with that cut. I don't know if you remember how bad that cut was, and they let it go. It's always something with this guy, man. Even tonight, there are going to be some people that talk about the long cut. It's just always something, man. I mean, but all right, slide back. Okay, I just had to say that too because I would have forgot. It's just always Wilder walking away. Does he have anything to prove?
35 years old, made a bunch of money.
I don't think he spends a lot of money either, man. I mean,
he lives in Alabama.
That car he got. I said, man, you could get that the way he got it kitted up for about $7-8 grand. I don't know if you ever saw the thing, and he got the doors to open up like a Lamborghini, and he had the big rims. I'm like, dude,
butterfly doors. Yeah,
engine you got in that piece of.
So as long as he stays in Alabama, he's good, right?
Yeah, I just hope that Southern boy. I hope his head is all right, because I don't want no Jermaine Taylor type,
right?
Yeah,
country boy stuff happening to him, man. If he start flying off, I ain't talking about twerking or nothing like that. Start doing weird stuff and saying weird stuff, which he has done, but you'll know the difference though. Then we might have a problem. So yeah, as far as anything to prove, nah, you in the record books with 10 TDs, 10 title defenses. Don't mean touchdown, Chris. And I don't know, man. It's tough because he's gonna feel like he doesn't want to be like. It's almost as if there's going to be a part of his brain that doesn't remember the 10 title defenses and say to himself, I don't want to be judged based on these Fury fights alone. So let me go ahead and fight.
But that's every fighter's knock, right? Every fighter wants to come back because they stop hearing that praise.
I mean,
that's
brain damage, though. He might not remember those 10. All I remember is the Fury things. No, seriously, man. I mean, I think you got Hellenius. I mean, Ruiz Jr. I would keep him away from Usyk, Joshua. That's big. Now, I know people always say one more, and then that's their downfall. But just one fight with Joshua, man, that'll give him. He'll make more. I know. Never mind. I ain't gonna. Y'all might call me blasphemous, but if he did it in the UK, I think he would make more with AJ, even with them two losing, than he did with Fury.
He should go over there. He most definitely should go over there.
These cheapskate promoters taking as much as they taking. Man,
he definitely should go over. If he can make more money in UK, he definitely should go. He's lost his O, so it doesn't matter at this point. Go to UK.
He would have went. Man. That damn Shelly Finkel blocking stuff, man. I mean, he would have went. Nah. What's the name? Told that story. DeBella. He's like, y'all want to fire me? I'm gonna tell y'all what really happened. He was like, I was trying to make the fight, man. Al got mad because Shelly ain't want it. Because Shelly had this initial investment that he wanted to pay back, the payout for, and he got it with the Fury fight. Don't get me wrong, but man, that Joshua, man, he walked away with like $150 for one fight. I don't know, Chris.
Well, let's. I mean, I don't. Well, let's put it this way: you got Adam Kwiatkowski out there, right? You can put that fight in Brooklyn. All of the Polish community would be out there. There's nobody that gets there in that particular fight. I mean,
they gave up on him tonight, bro. He got to fight the guy to beat him.
But if you want fights for Wilder or somebody to figure out where they are, that Kalinowski and Hellenius, whatever his name is, those are the kind of guys you want. I mean, they're good names. They beat each other up, but you got two, and I won't say they're average, but two, A- fighters fighting each other.
Ooh.
And it makes a good fight. They look good against each other, but you put them in with a Wilder or Fury, and they get their doors blown off.
How about we put Wilder in with Charles Martin? He gets that victory.
I'll take Martin in that one. I'll take Charles. I ain't joking. I'll take Martin.
If Martin doesn't derail things, then we get Wilder Ruiz. That's still a fairly big fight.
Yeah, I mean, geez, those are
fast hands. I think he's the opposite of AJ. I think he won't struggle with the shorter guy, but because it's a difference with Fury putting pressure on you as opposed to dude trying to get inside. I know he got the fast hands and everything, but Wilder seemed to. Well, then again, prior to Fury, you don't know where he's at. So yeah, make the fight.
Why not? Do we go ahead?
No, I was gonna say we're talking a lot. We're spending a lot of time on Wilder, and he lost. But what about Fury? What's next for Fury? Like, what do we want to see with him?
I would hope that Joshua beats Usyk in the rematch, and I would like to see Fury Joshua.
I would love that, man. I just don't know if he can get
Usyk. If Joshua beats Usyk, there's a third fight. Like that thing will never end. It'll be like the Klitschko holding the belt. It'll be like, oh my God, now what?
But if you're Joshua, do you even take that third fight? Do you say this is it? Like, he's still the A side. I mean, even though he's not the belt holder, he's still the A side in some respect. So do you say, you win that fight and you just never go back to that?
That's true. If they can get that on, if he can get out of that contract.
But see, Usyk ain't about that money. So he got Lomachenko's pop as his fight. He fight like Lomachenko too. So you're right. That's gonna go on forever because he's gonna be like, I ain't taking no step aside. money ain't my ain't my motivator. So you're right. They will have to put heads together and come up with plan Bs for both Fury and yeah. Wow.
Or because the money would be so big, would you just, if you were Joshua, would you be like, hey, Fury, let's make this happen? Because, it's a title fight. And then the winner can unify with Usyk.
Well, doesn't I mean, at some point, Fury has to defend the WBC strap. So you still got Wallin and Dillian White. So wouldn't he have to fight the winner of that particular fight?
Yeah, unfortunately, the promoters are in on it. It's just not the sanctioning bodies who play games. So they'll purposely freeze, like what you're saying, Chris. They'll purposely. Boy, I mean, Fury is ESPN. You put him in with Jared Anderson. Do you rush Anderson in there? I mean, a guy don't know no better. Just, hey man, you want your shot? Because that's see, I don't look at this as the end all be all, or Crawford versus Porter. I think to an extent, promoters are going to go back to playing keep away and saying we're going to fight in house. Yeah. And what do they have in house? They got Jared Anderson and Fury, and is that it? Is Helenius a free agent?
I think Helenius is PBC.
Well, he fought on their card, but is he? You know what I mean? Like this guy this guy that beat Julian Williams, where I have an excuse for. Does he fight on their cards, or like Jaron Ennis? He fights on the Showtime cards, right. But he ain't. Right. So you got to get creative, man. Because Usyk, I don't think he's gonna take that money and step aside.
Those contracts change when you start getting title shots, though. I mean, you can fight on my card, but as soon as you get a title, not only are you fighting on my card, but now all of a sudden I got some say so on what you're doing. So it's
for who?
It just sucks. for who? And that, huh?
For who? For what fight are you referring to?
I'm talking about Anderson or any of the guys that are fighting on the PBC card. As soon as they get a title shot,
Anderson is a top ranked guy.
Okay,
I'm trying to get creative for Fury, because Usyk probably like, look, step aside, money don't mean nothing to me, or whatever. I'm fighting AJ. Want the rematch? I'm fighting him, and AJ don't. That guy got so much money. I don't think he should.
So whose stable is Usyk considered? Is he? Where is he? Is he like Lomachenko with top rank, or is he?
No, is he MTK global?
Stateside, he's top rank. When he's overseas, he's with
his own.
Yeah,
that's a homework assignment for us, man. Seriously, that's a good. Wow.
Yeah, it's just you would like. I just want to see a unified.
I don't think boxing. See, I think they're gonna do stuff to extend it, man, because they don't.
No, they don't, because there's too much money.
Because Crawford tipped them off and said, "Listen, if I do this, I'm moving to 47. Heavyweights ain't moving nowhere but heavyweight. So it's like, well, we need to freeze one of these. We don't want to, dude.
Bob,
the old Don King Tyson thing, like
Bob Arum made the the other day. Teofimo was talking about he wanted to unify, and Bob Arum said that's great until you have to pay those sanctioning fees, and he's like, that's $250,000. And Teofimo said, that's not a big deal if I could get all the straps. So, but Bob Arum, I mean, once he made that statement, what his thoughts are. He doesn't care about that.
You're not listening to me. Teofimo, where are you? Now, you're right, though. You're right.
But I would think $250,000 is a lot of money for Teofimo Lopez.
That's per you talking about per sanctioning body?
No, it came out
overall.
All the if it was unified.
And then what's the name? Got to pay $252. Taylor.
Yep.
Wow.
That's a lot of
So
money.
it's a highway robbery.
He's Triller though. He got all the money. He's Famo's Triller. He good. He getting $6 million.
Triller.
Yeah, you look at Teofimo at the time, you thought, wow,
Hey,
this man, you know, this was a power move. He was going to make all this money for this fight against Kambosos, and you know, we all know what happened. Triller
Campos is going to get him. Campos is going to get him.
I can't believe Kambosos walked away from that. You know, that was a career high payday. I don't know why.
Because that money wasn't real.
They signed though.
Yeah, well,
they're fighting on
that
the zone,
has
right?
it now.
Yeah, but dude, he realized that they were lying, man. Triller was lying. Mike Tyson and Roy Jones still waiting for part of their money. Dillian White, Joseph Parker, Michael Hunter. There's a guy that Derek Chisora.
When was the last time he fought Michael Hunter?
He fought recently at the Garden.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He was on that
before the Jadakiss.
That's right. That whole Triller.
Not the Jadakiss. Well, Jadakiss was the star of the night.
That was a Triller thing, right?
Cut it out, Paul. Leave my man Cam alone. Yep, that was Triller, man, dude. It might have become a bigger mess. See, AJ need to win, or let's see, Usyk, Fury.
AJ winning is good for boxing, unfortunately.
Yeah,
unless AJ and Wilder agree as losers to fight each other, which
that'd be great.
Man, Wilder though, I hope he all right.
I was thinking the same thing in terms of hoping he's all right as well. I didn't like the way he looked in the corner after that fight. I didn't like the way he looked at all. He kind of looked like he looked in the second fight, but that was, you know what? Mark Breland stopped in the sixth.
He stopped. Yeah.
Seventh, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then so we got 4 more additional rounds of punishment.
Yes.
And I believe his ear was bleeding, just like it wasn't.
That's what was the most disturbing. They kept showing that shot of him standing there and the blood coming out his mouth, but the blood pooling in his ear. It just didn't make sense. He took a lot of punishment.
So should Malik Scott have stopped the fight? Like if Malik Scott, I mean, obviously Wilder would have fired him too if he would have stopped the fight. But should Malik Scott? Well, maybe JD should have did it because it seemed like.
And I was going to say, give to Malik, you want to keep your job, give the towel to Diaz. But
at the time you thought you didn't know if he was going to land that one shot because he had already proved that he could do it because he was out on his feet again earlier. Yeah. So, and he landed. I don't know where that came from. Man. Honestly, I do not know where that came from.
I don't think he does either. I don't think he knows where that came from.
And it wasn't the only time he caught him in the fight. So later,
I call for that too. I wish they would have sped that count up. Referee.
Oh my gosh! Here we go. The long count. Oh man.
No. I'm only complaining because I wanted my prediction to be right. But I mean, you know, it's boxing.
I do believe that's where Team Wilder is going to go. They're going to talk about that count. I mean, because at this point, and I'm not saying he's a man full of excuses, but at this point, there really is no excuse at this point. I mean, we know who the better guy is. It's kind of clear. It's kind of simple. And we know what we saw. So
go ahead.
Go ahead,
Paul.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say, going back to what Chris said, Tyson Fury, because I've seen it numerous times, but more importantly, more specifically, this guy Andy Ruiz Jr. They know how to properly place these equilibrium shots. Sometimes they're not legal, and it short circuits guys for rounds. I mean, these punches don't happen by mistake. I'm telling you, it ain't like just straight up on people's chins. It's equilibrium, sometimes a little behind the head, but it's like they've almost perfected it. So That's just
almost like a tranquilizer, right? You just
dude, it messes you up. 2 days later, you brain fog, man. It's just. But I'm telling you, they're masters at it. I watched at least 6 of Ruiz's fights. This is well before Joshua, where the dudes who go down, they're tapping the back of their head to the ref, but the punches aren't all that. Like if they would got hit the same punch on the chin, they either walk through it or it's a flash knockdown. But it's something when they try to get up, they can't, or they just no good when they do. And I'm telling you, they have it perfected. Even when he caught Joshua, the one punch that had someone short circuited, the dude was like, "Man, where am I?" But
I think he thought he was in the UK at that point.
Even Dillian White didn't catch him right. Dillian White didn't catch him on the chin with that hook. He caught him on that temple, man. I'm like, yo, this dude's legs just went banana split.
But how about Fury? Let's just say Dillian White does beat Wallin. How about Fury, Dillian White? I mean, that's a fairly big fight in the UK. That's a big fight in the UK. Not fair. That's a big fight in the UK.
It's a huge fight.
Vada.
Yeah, it's a pay-per-view.
2 drug guys, Vada, kid.
I think that's a big fight, and
I think Fury can pretty much write his own ticket, right? He's done enough. He beat Wilder, who everybody said, oh, that was the fight. Now Usyk is kinda, but it's not as tasty. That fight is not as tasty as a Dillian White or some of these other guys. So I don't know. I just Fury versus anybody right now. I could just see that. I would love to see Joshua. I would love to see, anybody. I just want to see Fury fight. So I'm becoming a fan because I underrated as far as his boxing skills are just underrated. I don't think people realize how good he is.
His ability to recuperate, right? We saw it in both of these fights against the first one and obviously tonight. His ability to recuperate, he recuperates like he's down and gets up and maybe if it wasn't for that long count, he still would be down, but who knows? But he gets he's down, he gets up, and he finds a way to get back, and he's just he was like back on his horse. He was doing his legs, doing what he's got to do, jab and all that good stuff. And I don't know, man. He's got that something special. That it. He's got that it.
He does have the it.
Yeah, he had a look on his face though, like he wanted to throw it in after that one. He had this look like, man,
that second one, he had that look. I know what you're talking about.
That's probably why I missed the count thing, because I was looking at him like, oh, yo, he got that Gary Russell looking at his father when he fought Lomachenko look like daddy.
Oh man!
So Frank Sanchez good?
That was my next question. Who won the night? Did Frank Sanchez win the night?
Yeah,
absolutely.
See, the Cuban is. I would like to see the Cuban in with a guy like Fury, man, or Usyk, because it's not going. Everybody's going to be everybody's favorite fight, but it's a challenge. Because I ain't gonna play your game and just come in here and try to throw one shot. And I'm telling you, man.
I think Frank Sanchez is going to have a hard time getting the big guys in with him.
Does he have that ringing out to him though? You see him in with somebody, and he's so good that you're like, oh my god, yes. Somebody catch him, because tonight was that fight. Like I thought this was going to be an explosive fight. I thought.
No, but it goes back to what y'all both said, man. Dude can write his own check, so he don't have to see a Frank Sanchez. He don't have to see. Now he's gonna go try to see Usyk and or Joshua, but who knows how it's going? Boxing, man. It's my foot.
Let me ask you this: Julian Williams. We saw Julian Williams lose tonight. J-Rock, Julian Williams.
Oh my gosh.
We saw him lose tonight. You know,
Oh my god.
we saw him lose tonight. You know,
I'm sorry. Who is Julian? Who's his trainer? Who's his trainer?
Sugar Hill is his trainer. Sugar Hill Stewart is his trainer.
And I can't wait from both of them cats, man.
Julian, I mean, you know, he had 14, 16 months off, you know, before this fight. You know, it did seem like he started fast, but he had a hard down that stretch there. He wasn't the same guy.
He got castagnoed down the stretch, buddy. That dude would stop punching, man. Got all of 6 knockouts, but he like, look, talk about deporting me, man. I got to get mine.
What type of he had 17 fights coming into this one. Vladimir Hernandez.
12-4.
12-4, right?
Yeah, I believe that was and only 6 knockouts.
Wow.
4 knockouts, maybe. It was 6. It was 6.
And Williams is hurt. Williams is in trouble. I'm like, dude, this guy ain't cracking like that, man.
Was that a case of just some poor matchmaking, or it was just a case of Julian Williams just, you know, I know he was supposed to fight. I forgot what he was. Maybe the end of last year. I know he had COVID. He ran into a COVID situation, and then, you know, ultimately, you know, I think he was supposed to fight in July with this fight. This fight got canceled, obviously. It was postponed, excuse me. And then, you know, a lot of time off. You know, Sugar Hill maybe spending a lot of time, maybe more time with Fury. Obviously, more time with Fury than him. So who knows? I mean, maybe I'm here trying to make some excuses for the guy.
Well, no, that's fine, Paul. What I do know is that Chris is going to reach out to his trainer on Monday, and he's going to reach out to Steve and see what he can get from him. And
I know that those two actually had a great interview on the Chris Williams podcast. Him and Stephen Edwards. That was a great interview. Those two.
And yeah, the bread man, that's my dude. So I'll reach out to him and find out, you know, what happened.
I'll reach out to Julian then.
I'm gonna reach out to Vladimir Hernandez and see what happened on his
right. I hit the guy. But you know what's funny, man? But you know what though? He must not have had a long time with Julian, because I saw an interview that was, I want to say, less than a month old, and they asked Julian why did he switch trainers to Hill, and he said he's a great teacher. He's like, and I need a teacher, and he's like, I want to grow. And that, let's put it this way, it was less than 2 months ago. So to switch, now I know Edwards knows him and they know each other, but there has to be something. Like it has to.
But like I said to you earlier, Chip, I was thinking, well, Tyson Fury's fights, like, I think they fought at like 8:30 Eastern time. And, you know, obviously Tyson Fury ultimately got in the ring around 11:30-ish Eastern time, maybe a little later. But anyway, there was like, 3 hours in between. He could have, in theory, been in J-Rock's corner for that particular fight and then went back. You know, Fury, I don't even think Fury was at the arena at that point. I think I saw his car coming in.
Right.
So,
and these are the answers Chris is going to get from both participants, trainer and boxer. He's going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to get the answers for you, Paul. No question. Because
we definitely need answers.
That's a good point.
What about Berlanga? Berlanga, excuse me.
He got beat tonight. He got beat tonight. I'm sorry, you can say it any way you want. He got beat tonight. He was exposed. So like he was the boogeyman, right? Everybody's like, oh man, this guy one punch artist. Well, what happened when somebody else was hitting him back, making him miss, and countering him? And he showed, I mean, he's not ready or every time he's moving up, he's facing a better fighter, better, stiffer competition. We're finding out, well, maybe this isn't the guy we thought he was. So I don't know.
I was saying, go ahead. I was saying to Chip earlier, I thought this should almost been like a showcase situation for him. Put him in with someone who's not going to take him rounds. Let him knock somebody else out in the first round. Start a new streak, if you will. Build him up because a lot of eyes because of this pay-per-view and everything. I thought it would have been a nice little showcase situation for him.
Yes,
that would have been smart. That would have been smart.
I mean, you see Fat Joe and them stop coming, and y'all gonna know he wasn't who they thought he was either. Give me my chain back. Man, you're supposed to be representing the hip hop community, man. You getting
So will he have to give the chain back after tonight?
He might get to keep it, but I don't think anybody's coming around looking for it anymore.
They're gonna have to take a step back with him. What's his name? Andre Rozier. They're gonna have to.
They have to take 2 steps back because he just looked regular. Like if you saw that fight and you didn't know that he had that one punch power, you'd be like, "Who is this guy?"
Right.
Like really, he just looked very regular, and he didn't do anything. Like he didn't make any adjustments to set his big punch up, and it seemed to get worse as the fight went on. So I don't know.
You're right. You're right.
Maybe it was bad.
No. I think you head on because, like Wilder, outside of Fury, his delivery system, like it's a 1-2, and it's coming, but he just had a way of just, and as basic as it looked, that 2 came right behind that 1 and stopped you. Berlanga, when he fought Damon Nicholson, he couldn't get him out, and then couldn't get him out the next round, and then and the next thing you know, he goes the distance. And now with this guy, it's his delivery system. You can see that right hand coming a lot of times. Just it's too slow or whatever it is, not setting it up. They got. It takes 3 steps back. Nah, you're right. You're right. This is. Oof, I don't know, man. It's like Tyrone Brunson who broke Edwin Valero's thing, and then they put Brunson in with somebody, and the next thing you know, this guy's losing 4 and 5 in a row.
I've been going back to Wilder for one moment. Tyson Fury came into this fight. I think he said it during that virtual press conference. He said Deontay Wilder can beat Usyk, he could beat Joshua, he could beat anybody in the heavyweight division but Tyson Fury. Is that legit? I mean, I kind of believe it.
No, man, he beat him tonight. If that count didn't, but on the surface, outside of that count, yeah, dude. As I stated, it's always something with Fury, but sometimes, even with it's always something. It's just not designed for you to be able to beat a certain dude, man. He just can't. I mean, it's just come closer next time. It just still won't do it. It's just, yeah, I guess I can believe it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I believe that as well. I think he could beat anybody in the heavyweight division outside of Tyson Fury. I really do. But
on paper,
sure.
Yeah.
Prior to tonight's fight, that is a very accurate statement. But now we have to throw Wilder in there with any one of those guys just to see what level he's on now.
That's what I said on paper. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That. Yeah.
Cool. So is it almost like, Vernon Forrest, Shea Mosley, no matter what he did,
yes,
just he couldn't beat Vernon Forrest. It's just no matter what he did. And it almost same with Vernon Forrest and Mayorga, right?
Well, he had one arm. He had one arm by the time he fought Mayorga, but you can still say that. He was closer to this rematch, but he still lost.
Right.
You're right.
Some dudes just have some dudes' number, and it's just never going to ever change. It's just
Count
it is
that.
what it is.
Count that.
So
And Elanius.
yeah, exactly. Perfect example. We saw it tonight. We
Start
saw it two
resorting to the
times
low
tonight.
blows, man. He start resorting to the low blows. I'm going like, come on, Adam, keep it clean, man.
I guess it was a matter of time before he got exposed, right? It was just a matter of time. I mean,
Yeah, I
it
love
was
his
just a matter
crowd,
of
man.
time.
But yeah, I wish he'd have got a title shot because they would have all came in there with them red t-shirts on, man. Cheering for him.
That would have been fun. I know they were. I know his manager Keith Conley at one point. His press
Great
conference at
keep.
the Barclays. He was saying that we could beat Wilder. I think he could beat Wilder. I think that would have been fun if those people would have got it on at Barclays. That would have been fun.
And if he was too
What was who was the fighter that everybody used to go to Barclays to see? From Poland. Oh God, Thomas Adam.
Thomas,
It would have
yeah.
been. Remember the craze around him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you were feeling.
Right.
That's what you were feeling.
And if he would have kept winning and got that title shot there at the Barclays against Wilder, that would have been that probably would have been a sellout.
Yes.
I think they could have sold out the Barclays Center that night.
Yep.
And maybe it could still happen.
You never know. You never
Maybe
know.
it could still happen.
You know what? That Adam Meck versus Spilka. Spilka was crazy. The two Polish guys. Artur Spilka. How do you say his name? First name? Art is he Artur too? Yeah, Tomas and Art. Yeah, Adam Meck would have been him, and what's her name would have been Konaki. Wow.
That'd have been fun. So we got, if you paid $79.99, you got your money's worth tonight.
Yes, you did.
It was a good card. From top to bottom, it was a good card. It was like those Don King cards back in the day.
Well, it was better than what we've seen.
Yeah.
Where you get pump up just the main event, and then you get 3 undercard fights that are trash. And then you might get lucky and have one of them to do something. But all of those were good fights. I thought and I know it's not the outcome that some people wanted. Chip and Julian, J-Rock.
Well, that wasn't part of it. But go ahead. That wasn't part of it, but go ahead.
But, it was a good night.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody got their money's worth.
Yeah.
That people that came to Vegas, it kind of sucks that a lot of the UK fans couldn't get it over here.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just the way it is right now.
Right. And hopefully that'll change shortly, some point 2022, maybe.
Because I want to go to a fight. I want to travel.
You're good. You're good. Jump on the plane. You're good.
I got to talk to Magna. See if they'll buy my plane ticket. See if they'll buy my plane ticket.
Oh, they got 7 on that site right now. 7. I said, man, where you at? Where you at? EMC? Where you at, Keenan? Magna got it on Lizak.
So we all agree Deontay Wilder should possibly think about retirement to a degree.
Yes, I definitely agree with that.
I'm with that. I just hope he's all right.
I do.
I hope he's all right too.
Because man, some of those fights where they were over, not recently, they were over, and you saw the punishment. You like, okay, and then you like, dude is in a hospital, like unconscious. Like it's like he was all right. He got beat up a little bit. Sometimes it's where you got hit, how many times, and it doesn't look as brutal. That's why I say that, man, because I've seen some fights, and I'm like, wait a minute. The guy, he got hit here and there, but he didn't look like he was that bad. And then, he's got – so I'm just –
But
he don't look right when he get hit, huh?
Go ahead.
No, it just be looking like I don't know, man. Like there's some kind of I don't even know what to call it, man. So I won't call it anything. He just don't look. He just don't look right, man.
It does look awkward. It does look awkward. But what, could part of that been fatigue?
See, and that's why I question his conditioning. So it could be. So, Mark Breland caught hell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But we watch Wilder, and this is the second fight that we've seen where he looked super tired. His legs are gone. So does he ever look like that in camp? So if we were in his camp, would we see this? Like, had Breland seen that before? Not him getting hit like that, but just when he's training, hitting, but doing whatever after a long period of time. Does he start moving funny? Like, are those new signs, or are those signs that we just see, or do they see that? That's the kind of thing you got to think about. It's like, God. So I don't know where Wilder is. So if he walks away from the fight game today, walks away from the ring, he would be a hell of a commentator if he still has all his faculties. Do you know how much fun it would be to have him? And Sean Porter's my hometown guy. But do you know how much fun it would be to have Wilder sitting at that table? Talking about fights? That would be a lot of fun. It would be a lot of fun because he's an entertaining guy. And you don't know what's going to come out of him. He's a bit of a wild card at times. But it would be that would be part of that $79 I would pay. Seriously. It would be part of the money I would pay because I would want to hear what he had to say. So for that part, that's why part of the reason I hope he walks away from it. I just want him to be healthy.
Yeah. Honestly. Dudes don't come back right after these, 2 straight beatdowns. It's pretty much the same situation in terms of the beatdowns. Just one just went a little longer than the other, but it was still beatdowns, still bleeding in the ear, still bleeding from the mouth. He got dropped, 3 times tonight?
Yep.
So, let me ask you this. He had his most success in the first fight, and I believe it was 212. And the second fight was 231, and this fight was 238. Should he go back to that weight, that 212? Is that the best weight for that guy?
Yeah, because it seems like it was killing his his legs. He taking away his stamina, his legs. So possibly.
Yeah, and maybe it was Fury was coming off of, I believe, a layoff after
2 years.
Yeah. So, but he had his most success when he was smaller. So I don't know if that means anything.
Well, there's a way to get bigger, and it's not by I can bench press 340 now. Yeah, that's dead weight, man. That ain't a guy leaning on you on different shoulders and doing all kind of stuff. That's just solid weight that you're lifting. Like, that ain't an opponent that you can just bench press. He's doing every trick known to man. There's ways to gain weight without doing it that way, and that could lead to stamina, like Chris said. And also something he said is, see, everybody's gonna be looking to interview Malik Scott and Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury and Hill and all that, and Andre Bum Ward and all those guys, but I think now's the time to get Breland to talk. Maybe he did used to see that in camp. Ain't nobody checking for Breland right now. They checking for all those other dudes. He'll say, man, and I used to, and he'll tell you. He'll be believable. I don't think he's just gonna lie, out of even being bitter if he is. But you could probably find your answer there. Like, that's what we used to see in camp or sparring or whatever the case is. And when you got guys that are scared of you and you coming forward for 12 rounds, that's one thing. But You know, when you mixing it up and getting leaned on and all that other good stuff, man, it could take it out of you.
Yeah, yeah, and it was. It did seem to take it out of him a little bit. Definitely.
He might
Absolutely.
try to save dude's life, man, by stopping it. I ain't trying to be funny, but
I believe that. I believe that he did save his life. Could you imagine? Let's just imagine he didn't stop that fight, right? So we would have seen the same result 11 rounds, 10, 11 rounds of him getting beat up, beat on, taking hellacious punches from a 270-pound man, right? So we would have, let's just say first fight, it went 10, 11 rounds, and then we saw this 11 rounds. That's a lot of punishment. That's a lot of punishment. And that leads to, like you said earlier, a little slurring.
man, I'm telling you, dude, those couple shots he got in before the referee realized Vreeland threw the towel in, it was he was defenseless almost, man. I'm like,
Yeah.
But were they as vicious as the ones we saw tonight? I mean, there were some rounds, man. He was just getting pummeled.
well, when he illegally knocked out Steve Cunningham, he wasn't holding his head and hitting him. He was locking dude's head and threw the uppercut. And I sent the tweet to Steve, like, did you see the 6th round, that illegal uppercut? That stuff is scary. It's dangerous, man. And
it's legal it's illegal for a reason.
maybe they're in the refs are too slow to see it because they're worried about their star role as the referee. Like, my man to be making all the faces all the time, man. I'm like, dude, come on, man. Dude, like, stop trying to hog the attention up, Steve Willis. But that's man, you're right. Were they as hard as? Even if they're not hard, you don't have as much left after that first fight than the second fight. So even if it's the same hard or less hard, you've already had it taken out of you that previous fight. So this is only icing on the cake. So even if it didn't seem as hard, you don't know how much damage. Listen, man, those New England Patriots who have retired and talked about how Belichick told them, if you don't practice while you're hurt, you're going to lose your spot. These Ted Johnsons and all that. These guys got this CTE, man. But you don't know it. You don't know it until you know it, man. So, yeah, they could have been worse for him, even if they were harder, because of what happened in the previous fight, man. It's as many fights as he'd been in, he didn't take a lot of punishment because he got people out of there.
Right.
Yeah.
So that one round against Luis Ortiz where he was, pretty much out on his feet, and then these 2 Fury fights. Is that like the most punishment? I know Eric Molina, had him, rung his bell
Drummer
a little bit. Drummer boy, yes, rung his bell a little bit. But outside of Ortiz and that one round with Ortiz, and then these 2 fights of Fury, he hasn't taken much punishment.
Harold Sconyers, that too. He got dropped twice badly one time, and the truck driving guy. But that was just a. They called it a slip. But you're right. Outside of those, and it only takes the right spot at the right time, dude. It's like, and that's why I'm saying, if we found that out, God forbid, you know what else saved his life? By not doing that post-fight interview and going to the hospital, because sometimes it's a matter of minutes.
Yeah, he definitely that was definitely a good sign to see him go straight to the hospital. But I did see him walking out there. He had his hands up in the air and stuff. So, maybe he's all right. Hopefully,
maybe, because your man in Canada was all right, and then he collapsed in that dressing room.
Right.
So, but hopefully, man, because retirement might not be that big, man. You want to fight a cupcake at home, that's fine, man. But I don't know.
So let's give him one more cupcake at home, and then let's bring him on home.
Because if AJ gets you before you get him,
and he deserves a farewell tour. Just something Nice little cupcake to say
Yeah.
thanks for the memory.
Would
But
you go?
Sure.
If it happens to be a cupcake in Alabama, would you look at
I
it as I
would.
better go because this might be it?
I would. Yep. I sure would. In Birmingham. Yep.
You wouldn't rematch him with the drummer boy though, right? Because he might get his butt kicked. Yo, drummer boy, he was one punch away, dude. I'm telling you. Watch
So
that.
I wouldn't put him in with somebody that
Put
can
him in
hit.
with Gerald Washington again.
Okay. Okay. Speaking of Berlanga, a point you made, Chris, and I forgot to say, you said they need to take a couple steps back and put him in with, or Paul, a showcase. I got a guy for him.
I think I know who you're going to say.
Never mind. I'm not going to say it.
Is he from Philly?
Yeah. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
I was thinking DC.
Wait a minute. No, hold up.
He could bring the Washington football team's band in there.
That would, if he doesn't have slur speech already, that would be Hurd's finish right there, dude. Because he ain't gonna be right, man. For
that's another one. That's another one. I hope doesn't get hurt. Jared Hurd, he's a good guy. He's a very good guy. That's another one I hope doesn't get hurt. But
style. Yes,
he's the black Antonio Margarito. I mean,
yes, he is.
I like that. I like that.
So he's always he's just gonna just punch, take some punches, take some punches, and let the chips fall where they may.
Yo, the night before he fought Julian Williams, he was 8 pounds over. So, but he was telling people, not only will he lose the weight, the night before the weigh-in, he's like, not only will he lose the weight, but he'll be able to eat that night. And I said, how, Jared? He's like, I'm not going to tell you now, but I'm going to put it in my biography or something like that. But that kind of has to contribute to him like, dude, stop. But his other choice was go to 60 and face the Triple G's and guys like that. So he stayed at 54. Oh, man.
But I know Camden, New Jersey that night knew Julian Williams was going to win.
Hey, I had to say it twice. He heard me, though. He turned around. He's like, that's right. Like, but he had his style was what's the name? Style was tailor made for him. I don't think it's like Hellenius and what's the name, man, and Fury and Wilder. He would always beat Hurd, but then who knows how he would handle Lara or Laura, as people say, or where he at. But I don't know, man.
Well, fellas, 2:30 here in the East Coast. It's getting a little late. A lot of fun here tonight. Deontay Wilder loses by TKO to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is still the man in the heavyweight division. So, Chris Williams, where can we check out the Chris Williams podcast?
Chris Williams podcast at the Chris Will Pod, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Man, so feel free to drop by, and hopefully we'll have something special with a couple trainers.
Mark Breland, Stephen Edwards,
Julian Williams. I want the whole story on that.
Chip Mitchell, where can we find in TFJ Boxing?
Oh yeah, it's thefightjournal.com on the website, and then it's TFJ Boxing on our YouTube channel, and also on Twitter and Instagram. I think that's the same too. I changed it.
Fellas, a lot of fun tonight. Appreciate you stopping on in.
Thanks for having us.
Let's definitely do it again. We went to Chris's house. You came to my house. So TFJ, we got to come to your house.
That's right.
We got a loaded October and a loaded November.
So, make sure you open the doors. Make sure the heat is on because it is November.
Oh, the heat is.
Oh.
You got it. Alabama's 0-2 tonight, man.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
that's not good.
No, it's been a upset.
That's 0-3. Didn't
Chris
Auburn take it on the chin too?
Yeah, they lost to
Georgia.
Kentucky. No, Georgia. Okay.
Yep.
Well, Kentucky then went out and got some horses. Yeah, man.
Well, some people have multiple teams. Some people like the Browns. Some people like the Cowboys. So each and every Sunday, it's going to end well for them.
Somebody likes the Cowboys and is from Cleveland. Let's make sure we get this right. I would like to see the Browns go to the Super Bowl and play the Cowboys, and ultimately the Cowboys get the ring. But let's keep it real now.
The Browns have gone twice because they are.
Don't get it twisted.
So what the Browns? What 3-1, right?
Yeah, they're 3-1. But so are the Cowboys
3-1.
That's right.
So you're 6-2.
They're the Baltimore Ravens. The Browns are the Baltimore Ravens. The Colts are Baltimore. Baltimore took 2 titles from Cleveland.
That's true.
Remember the good old days when the late Michael Jackson, boy. Those the good old days. Testaverde to Jackson.
I remember Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that was my guy.
I miss both Michael Jacksons.
Yep.
Yeah, one died in the 80s and was replaced. And then the other one.
All right, time to go.
Have a good night. Oh my God.
All right.
This guy.
He was. I got the video.
A lot of fun tonight. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Support all the great things going on with Go Forward Radio. See you later. Take care. Bye.
Thanks for having us, man.
Appreciate it.